And so let's talk about Windshear for just a second. I know there's other things that are coming in here. Windshear is one of these things that is not won by a function of airspeed, it's won by a function of angle of attack. So in other words, I won't spend a ton of time on this, but I just want you guys to be real clear on this. If this is your microburst, and you're coming up to it, and you get Windshear toga, and you start pitching into the flight director, and then it says if the flight director's not there, first of all, if the autopilot's engaged, leave it engaged. That's a beautiful thing about this machine. The autopilot fights the Windshear. It's great. Now, that doesn't mean sit on your hands, because it's very possible that the airspeed decays down to alpha prot, and when it does, one of the things of alpha prot is autopilot might disconnect, right? So now you're stuck, you're thrown into the fight, so to speak, right away. So now, when you're pitching, and first you go to the flight director bars, and if the flight director bars are not there, we go to initial pitch attitude of 17.5, which is roughly where they'd be waiting for you anyway. And the pilot monitoring, your role is pretty critical here, pilot monitoring. You're going to start calling off the radio altitude. You're going to say 500 feet climbing, 600 feet climbing, 700 climbing, 800 feet level, 800 descending, 700 descending, your 700 level, 700 climbing. We're not calling it from the airspeed, from the altimeter, right? Because think about the definition of a wind shear: sudden change of wind direction and/or speed over a short distance in the atmosphere, which means the pedostatic system is potentially erroneous, considering that what's swirling around the airplane outside is not stable air. So that's the first thing. That's why we're looking at the radio altitude, because it's very possible that it'll show the altimeter an erroneous climb or descent. And the other thing you'll notice is there's no mention of airspeed. So we don't say airspeed's low, airspeed's high. We don't say anything like that, because if you do hear speed is low, the tendency might be to lower the nose, and the only way to win the shear really is through angle of attack. So we're reliant on the protections to do what they need to do and allow us to just fly with aft side stick as needed to fight the shear. There's a really good video on YouTube. It's Delta 191. Delta 191. This was a L-1011 going into Dallas that crashed due to wind shear, unfortunately. When you listen to the cockpit recorder and you also see some of the inputs that were applied, there was some mention of airspeed. There was some nose down pitch control inputs. Anyway, I won't get into the detail of it, but suffice it to say that the procedure, you'll notice, talks about RA, and it does not mention anything to do with airspeed, everything to do with vertical trend. Okay, let's see.